Welcome to Behind the Crown Podcast with your hosts, Brian Hudson and Josh Griffin. Sit back and enjoy these great stories and memories of the Kingsmen Quartet.
Welcome to another great episode of Behind the Crown Podcast with your hosts, Josh Griffin and Brian Hudson. Brian, how you doing today, sir?
Josh, I'm doing well. What's going on at Griffin Manor this evening?
Griffin Manor. That sounds
Griffin
really
Manor.
cool time. Yeah. Not much really, just hanging out. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, things are good up here in Ohio. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for joining us on the podcast tonight. This, like Josh said, this is Beyond the Crown podcast, where it's dedicated to the message, the men, and the music of the mighty Kingsmen Quartet. So,
Yeah.
Josh, before we get to our special guest tonight, do you have a piece of useless information? You know, this has become one of the most popular segments of the podcast and got people from all over the world, Josh, reaching out to us almost daily. What piece of useless information is going to be on the podcast this week? So, Josh, we cannot disappoint our millions and millions and millions of fans and followers. What
Yeah.
kind of information do we have tonight, Josh?
All right. Before alarm clocks were invented, people were hired as knocker-uppers to wake their clients up. This happened during the Industrial Revolution in Britain and Ireland. So there you go.
Well, okay. Well,
How about that?
I don't even think I'm going to touch that because there's way too many inside jokes on what those people were called. So I'm just going to
Yes.
we're going to
We'll leave
move
that
on. We're
right
gonna
there
move
where it lay,
along,
right?
okay?
Yeah.
We are going to move along tonight. Go ahead and why don't you go ahead and introduce our special Kingsman alumni tonight for the
Yeah.
podcast?
From all the way down in Wiggins, Mississippi. Now he's in somewhere around Pigeon Forge, Knoxville, Tennessee area. None other than Mr. Chris Bryant. Hey, Chris, how you doing, sir?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. I appreciate the useless information. That was good.
See, that's what we're here for, Chris. We're here to give you and these
Yeah.
millions and millions of followers a piece of useless information. So,
Yeah.
but man, we appreciate you being here tonight with us. And I realize that your time at home is very valuable. So we appreciate you giving up your family time tonight and talking to us a little bit. But we want to honor you tonight. You remember the Kingsmen for several years and great lead singer, and a lot of people remember you. And but you know, we've discovered that not everybody, well, nobody, none of the Kingsmen started with the Kingsmen. They usually started somewhere else before they joined, the Kingsmen Quartet. So, Chris, take us back a little bit, back in time a little bit, kind of where you started and kind of where your love of gospel music started.
Okay. Well, I am originally from Mississippi, as he mentioned, and I'm born and raised there around the Jackson area. And so I was kind of a little different than a lot of the people, a lot of Kingsmen members. Kingsmen being in North Carolina, it's kind of a lot of the people have known each other for a long time or grew up around each other,
Right.
especially kind of eastern North Carolina and then over towards the mountains. But in Mississippi, I mean, we're so far down there. I was about 12 hours from Asheville.
Ooh,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So my stuff was very personal. My grandparents had a gospel group for years. They traveled, and both of them worked. My grandmother and my grandfather both worked full-time jobs. They were in the medical field. My grandfather was director of radiology, and my grandmother worked there. But then they would go sing on the weekends all of my life, like most people around this country still do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they old Silver Eagle bus had a full band.
Yeah. Okay.
They traveled. Their garage was enclosed, and they had turned that into a recording studio.
Wow.
So I grew up. My dad was a pastor, so we sang, and then my grandparents had a gospel group. So anytime I'd go over there, I'd go in the studio and I'd sing and I'd play, and so my love for gospel music really came from a combination between my grandparents, their group, and my dad and mom singing.
Okay. Okay.
So
Now-
I played bass guitar for my grandparents when he was a teenager,
Okay.
Yeah.
and so it was kind of a big family deal.
That's pretty. Well, you mentioned you played. So what instruments do you play?
Yeah.
Not very well anything, but I play a piano and a little
Okay.
guitar, not much, but I love my grandparents. My grandfather played. He played piano, so they had a grand piano in their living room.
Wow. Okay.
and it was just a very musical family, and it was all Southern gospel. That's all I knew. That's all they did. That's all. And so, being raised around that just gave me a deep love for it, and I had pretty good knowledge of old stuff. Not like some people out there. There's some historians for
Yeah.
music, but I knew enough to be dangerous anyway. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that's kind of where you develop, you know, your love for it, of course, but you probably being in a family group, you probably had to learn how to sing harmony and had to carry the melody too. So
Yeah, so me and my dad and mom sang. And dad pastored, and then at times he was in evangelism, we would go and sing. Well,
okay,
mom could not sing harmony.
okay,
So I mean, it came natural for me.
yeah, yeah,
I heard it, I don't ever remember not hearing the harmony part. So,
yeah,
we recorded an album when I was 12, I believe.
okay.
Harmony, matter of fact, at, Lamp Music in Georgia.
Wow, yeah, okay,
Yeah, Around the Pillow. That's where my grandparents recorded. They recorded there.
okay, good,
And
okay,
so we recorded an album there, and, that was kinda my first taste of recording, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I grew up singing parts and singing harmony as long back as I can remember.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
How about that?
Pretty awesome.
Fast forward to when you joined the Kingsmen, Chris. Talk a little bit about your audition process with the Kingsmen.
Well, let's see, I joined in, July 2018 is when I first went out with the Kingsmen. So for the year or so before that, kind of fast forwarding, once I turned, I think 17, I started singing quartet music around
Okay.
Mississippi, and some local groups, and one of those groups was the Bible Tones. And
Yes, the Bible tones, yeah.
Mississippi for a long time. So I was singing with the Bible Tones. I was singing lead with them, and we had the last year I was there for a couple of years. The guys that were with them, I had sang with multiple groups. I knew those guys real well. But
Okay.
I think the Memphis Quartet show, and then about a week later we had our homecoming, and we
Okay.
Trammell Quartet come down and sing at our homecoming for us. And so after the concert, the Mark Trammell concert, they were with us in Memphis too. A couple of the guys came up and said, "Man, you need to call the Kingsmen. You need to go sing with the Kingsmen."
Okay.
And I knew they were looking for somebody. I had seen it, but like I said, I was 12 hours from Asheville.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
our paths, I mean, I had seen the Kingsmen. I grew up, but our paths didn't cross. Like I didn't
Right.
know those guys as well as I knew everybody down south.
Yeah.
So the first person I think was bass singer come up and told me, and then I forget who else, and then finally Nick Trammell.
Yeah.
It was the third person from that group that night that said, "Man, you need to call the Kingsmen." And I just kind of put it off. I said, "Well," I said, "I don't really know those guys." I said, "I don't even know how to get in touch with them. They don't know me." So
Right.
he said, "I'll get you in touch with them if you're interested." And and I had been looking. I had talked to a few other, full time
Yeah.
golf recently, and a few people knew I was looking. So, anyways, I left and went to Waffle House and got a call that night from Nick. He said, "I just gave your name to Brandon Reese. He'll be calling you." I said, "Okay." And so
Okay.
the next day, Brandon called, and turns out they were going to be in Birmingham that Thursday.
Okay.
And so this was kind of a world. We did our homecoming on Saturday. Sunday, I got a call. Thursday, they're going to be in Birmingham. He said, "If you want to come over, we'll, sit down and talk." And so,
Yeah.
Lee's Family Restaurant, Dora, Alabama. And Kingsman did that once or twice a year the whole time
Right.
there. But anyways, so I went just to go hear him, and I sat down with Brandon, talked, and then I ended up getting up and singing a couple songs with him. And
Okay. Okay.
sang, I think, 2 songs that night, and then they asked me to come out the next week with them for the full weekend.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot happening very quick, but that was my
Whirlwind.
that was
Yeah.
it, yeah. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. Goodness.
So when you finally you went out a couple weeks and they offered
Well,
you the job. Is that what happened?
yeah, so when I went out with them, they were, it was a transitional point. The first concert I was at in Dora, Randy Crawford was still there,
Okay.
but he wasn't there that weekend. So it was Ray Dean, Chris Jenkins, a gentleman filling in on baritone, and Philip Hughes was there singing.
Okay.
So the night I got up with him, Philip was singing, and I found out later Soon as I finished singing, Philip told Ray Denny, he said, there's your next lead singer. And I love Philip. You can't not love him.
Great guy.
But so I went out with him the next week. Well, Randy was back. And so it was me, Ray, Randy, and Chris.
Okay.
And first concert was the James Devon Quartet Festival in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Yeah. Big concert.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so I drove from Mississippi to that concert with about 25 songs to learn. And I was going to do, I think, 3 concerts with them that weekend.
Yeah.
And so we, and now looking back on, I know how it works, but I expected this nice full sound check where, you practice all these songs and everybody knows.
Yeah.
No.
No.
We,
No.
we did part of, I think, Meet Me at the Table. And, I'm scared to say anything. And Ray, well, I'm done, cuz. And so, long song, I'm sitting there like, no idea what we're doing. And I'm just kind of looking around and they asked Brandon, like, we good? And I said, yeah, I'm good. I said, okay. And so they go to the bus. I didn't even know where the bus was. And they're walking off and I'm going, oh, now, of course, I didn't know any better. I showed up dressed. I mean, I had all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
What do you do? I didn't know. And so they go to the boat. Well, finally, I think somebody came and got me or pointed me towards the boat. I don't know. And so I said, well, what are we singing?
Yeah.
And Jenkins called the program at that
Okay.
time. And he said, well, we don't do the same program twice, so we'll figure it out. And I said, okay, we're going to figure it out with the 20 songs you sent me, right? I mean, that's, but let's not get Spirit 2 involved here. Let's stay on, on course.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you one funny story about that, though. That first night, he asked me a couple songs. He said, do you know a song called Hear the Word of the Lord?
Yeah.
And it was their current radio song.
Right.
I didn't know that. I said, no, man, I didn't know that one. And Jenkins said, well, that's a radio song. I said, I'm sorry, I don't know it.
Yeah.
He said, well, I guess I'm not going to sing a radio song. And I said, well, I guess not. Because I was only filling in like 2 or 3 dates that weekend. I had to go back to the Bible tones. He said, well, it's up to Lee Black's coming Sunday, and he wrote the song. I'm sure he can sing it.
Oh.
It was one of my first times.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, fast forward. What was funny was the next weekend I went back out with him and I asked, I said, well, how'd it go with Lee? They said, he didn't know it either. Never did it.
He didn't know his own song.
No, hear the word of the Lord. He said, no, not well enough to sing it.
Wow.
Yeah. Got out of that. But yeah. So fun. I stepped up there with those guys and sang hold the set with them. And it was fun. We were on, I forget who all was on that night. I know it was us. Trammell was on that night. I think Tribute and Gold City. It was all
Okay.
four. And so when we were the last group that night, we closed it out. And so I saw all the other groups, all the other guys came in and lined up on the back wall as if it wasn't nerve-wracking enough.
Yeah.
And so they're all standing back there just looking, wondering, hey, who's this guy? And some of them, like, so we had done Memphis, I'd sing with,
Yeah.
but looking back, I was scared to death. I go back and watch videos. I was terrified. Just trying to get around everything we were doing.
Oh yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
a great.
Especially when you step up there and you've never sung these songs live, maybe in the car,
Yeah.
you've never sung them in front of people, and that's a whole different kind of thing,
No. And so the first solo I had was on I Hope.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it was like the second song we did or something like that. And I just remember like trying to just don't forget the words. Just please don't forget the words. So I got most of them right. It was great. Looking back, I wouldn't change it for anything. That whole experience.
Yeah.
It was
That's
fun.
pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
It became one of my favorite events. We did that event every year.
Yeah.
It always had a special place to me because
Yeah.
that first full.
Yeah, that was your first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, I got some stats here, so I want to read some stats.
All right.
You
Nice.
joined Kingsman lead vocalist in 2018, okay, and you stayed till 2022. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. 2019, you all did an album called Victory Shout,
Yeah.
which was very good for you guys. And you got a #1 song from Victory Shout.
Yeah.
Dear John was a top 10 song for the Kingsmen. 2021 album More to the Story, and you wrote, is it 2 songs off that record?
Yeah.
I Am Forgiven, and then The Winds and Waves Still Know. Is that right? Both.
Bullet on the Mountain was the Christmas song on the end of it.
Okay. These Are the Days was a top 10 song. When the Old Story Was New, that was a top 10 song. Church of the Great I Am was the number 1 song. Okay. And What the Blood Does was a top 10 song. And then you guys did the album, the Christmas album of 2022, Tis the Reason, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, during your Kingsman stint, did you have a favorite song that you like to sing? Maybe like your feature song or a group song? One that comes to my mind is Just Can't Get Over.
Yeah.
On More to the Story. That was a great song, but tell us about your favorite one.
I've always said my favorite songs to sing there were, I always loved singing Meet Me at the Table. It's one of my favorite Kingsman song. It was a lot of fun to sing. And honestly, and I've said this before, my second favorite song or other favorite song was always doing Look for Me at Jesus' Feet.
Yeah.
One of my favorites really featured me. It was just,
Yeah.
Brian, you can attest that you sang both of those songs.
Yeah.
The way the crowd reacted to those songs, the way the fans, when Me at the Table kicked off, the energy,
Yeah.
the Look for Me, the way when you knew it was coming to the end of the song, and the lead takes the end, and it just, there's something about those old songs really meant more to me. And I love the new stuff, and special having your own stuff that you did, and Just Can't Get Over, Wind Waves. That was a great song, but but there was something about those classic Kingsman songs, singing those with the Kingsmen, to the Kingsman fans, standing there with Ray Dean Reese, and there was something about that that made those more special to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
And those 2 songs in particular really stood out.
Yeah, because especially if you grew up as a fan of the Kingsmen, and you're, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. When you're up there in front of the people, you're standing with the Kingsmen on the stage with the Kingsmen as a member of the Kingsmen, and you're singing the songs that you kind of grew up and was your favorites. Oh yeah, so that's
the difference. And I remember my first Lawrenceburg, yes, a little bit, but my first, like the next night out, I think it was a church concert, and just the way it felt for the first time. Really, I hadn't done quartet singing all of my life and sang with but for the first time, knowing that people had come out on a Thursday night, Friday night, just to hear the Kingsmen.
Yeah, pay their hard-earned money.
And that was different. A lot of times when you sing in a local group or you sing in a part-time group, you do a lot of Sundays and you sing at churches, and people are there because it's church. They're supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
But until you do it like that with a group like the Kingsmen, that you actually see the difference in the anticipation of the people.
Yeah.
When they show up expecting to hear something, like the energy is different, the way, and honestly, the way that you pour into it as a singer changes.
Yeah. True. Very true. Very
Because
true.
you feel like, what, I can't let these people down. Like,
Right.
They're not just here because it's church and they're supposed to be. It's
exactly
right. It's pouring rain. It's the middle of nowhere, and there's 200 people in this building that seats 100 to hear Meet Me at the Table.
Yeah, and they're and like you said, they're choosing. They're choosing to give up their time and pay their own gas money and pay a ticket to get in. And that's what I think I've always loved about the Kingsmen. No matter who has been standing in those spots, lead, tenor, baritone, and bass, and all everything, every guy that has been a part of the Kingsmen values the fans, values the people that come, because they're the reason. They help pay your bills. They help take care of your family. And that's why even back in the days when Elders Fox and Greg Fox owned the group, even up to Ray and Brandon Reese, the mindset is we want to honor our fans. We want to give them the best we can. We want to be the best we can be, sing the best we can, give them the songs they recognize, and give them some new songs too, and just do our very best to make it a great night. So that's what I love about that. So you mentioned some of your favorite songs. Did you have a least favorite song? Like every time the intro started, you're thinking, oh, not that song again.
Oh goodness.
Anything in particular?
Well, I mean, the first one that came to mind is the next cloud.
Okay. Okay.
It just it wasn't a bad song, but it was a number one song. Everybody loved it,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
and they still love it.
they do. They do. People that still love it.
And we would, a lot of we did a lot of like Bill Bailey and Josh Frank's concert where you did
Right.
at the end. It was always called. And I was always sitting there going, man, we've got Rise Up, we've got Meet Me, we've got Saints Will Rise, we've got and it would get called, oh goodness, go. And it's not a bad song, but from a singing standpoint too, it rides. And for those of you
Yeah.
that means
Yeah.
you have to get kind of, and Brian knows this, you have to get in that
Yeah.
and you have to stay there the entire song.
The entire song.
It stays right there until it gets a little higher at the end. But
Yeah.
he may be, and
Oh yeah, man.
so it's not a song you can coast through. You have to
No. You can't.
sing it.
Well,
No.
here's the thing. Other singers have told me, "Oh, I think can't you kind of coast through that?" No, you really can't. You really
Not where
can't. No, you can't. You can't.
no.
Oh goodness.
That wasn't meaning that I didn't like, but that
Yeah,
that I was just kind of and it was such a famous song. It's very
it
popular.
is, man. It was number one song for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hey, I totally get it. I totally get it. Well, I mentioned a moment ago you wrote a couple songs off the more to the story album, but you've been writing for a while. So uh, when did you start songwriting? Was that always been a thing for you?
I started writing songs when I was a kid. Um,
Okay.
I
Okay.
wrote my first song, full song when I was 9 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And like I said, my grandparents had a group. And so my grandmother was doing a solo album. She wanted me to record it. And so we went to Georgia and I recorded it there when I was, and it was, I mean, I go back and listen now. I'd put Chris Jenkins to shame. I could sing some, but, and a few years later, I went back and re-recorded it and, they released it to radio. And
Okay.
that time, it was, if you cracked the top 80 on a singing news chart, you were doing something.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
a lot of groups that fought really hard, and there still are. But back, that would have been, goodness, I was 12. God, that's 20. I just turned 40, so that's 28 years ago.
Okay.
So I mean, it was hard to get, airplay. But it got some. It didn't crack top 80. I think it got to 98 or something like that
Okay.
because they'd get the reports. But in Jackson, Mississippi, there was a Southern Gospel radio station, and they would take requests. And my claim to fame in Jackson was it was the number one most requested song 52 weeks in a row.
52
Ah.
weeks in a row.
52
52 weeks
Yeah.
in a row.
Yeah. Yes. Every little old lady in Jackson wanted to hear that voice sing. I just can't praise enough. And it was,
Wow.
I got my first check for that as a songwriter, and it was about $25. And I was, like I said, I was 12, I guess, at the time, and I was just ecstatic. I was
Well,
supposed to.
that's big. That's big money for a
Yeah,
12-year-old man.
Yeah.
they told me to frame it. I didn't. I cashed it. Frame it.
True quartet man. You're not gonna save that cash. You're not gonna save that check. You're gonna cash it.
No, and as a songwriter, you never know when the next one's going to come in. So you better use.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
true.
right.
That's
That's
true.
hilarious.
Then honestly, I didn't write. I mean, I wrote. A lot of people. There's stuff that nobody knows. I wrote songs when I was a kid, a teenager. I pitched in Gold City. I've got letters and that no, I've never told anybody this. I was looking the other day, and I have a letter from Mark Trammell where he wrote me back from a song pitch I pitched to Gold City.
Ah.
Pass on it, but still, it was come on the Gold City letterhead, and
Well,
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
as a teenager,
Yeah.
that was just cool to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't write anymore until I wrote some but I didn't do anything with them until I joined the Kingsmen.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And then the first song I wrote there was the "Tell It on the Mountain," the Christmas song.
Yeah.
And we were on the bus, and me and Ray and Chris were sitting at the front of the bus. If you've been on a bus, everybody has their kind of assigned spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way out, and you don't go to. I mean, you do, but you have your places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So us three, we were always in the front of the bus. Brandon and then Alan came on board a couple weeks after me. Alan
Yeah.
back of the bus, and so we were sitting up there and we were talking about a Christmas album. And I remember Ray and Chris talking about it. And Chris said, "We just don't have any fast songs." And I piped up and said, well, I can write us one.
Yeah.
And Chris, so I didn't know you wrote. And in typical Ray fashion, he said, I didn't know he could read. Ray quick. Don't let him fool you. He's very quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I said, what do we need? And they said, just a fast, upbeat Christmas song. I said, okay. So I'll start working on it. I'll write a little bit. And if you like it, I'll keep going. And
Yeah.
I went to my bunk and worked for about 30 minutes. It wasn't long.
Wow.
And I came back and sang them the first verse and the chorus. And I said, what do you guys think? They said, yeah, I'd keep going. And so I wrote it and then we recorded it. And then
Wow. Okay.
I got brave and started pitching some other stuff I'd written. So
Wow.
That's
good.
pretty cool though.
how that
Seriously.
came.
Wow.
Wow.
Speaking of you being a songwriter, while you was with the Kingsmen, as far as picking material for new recordings, did you help choose any materials? Go through and listen and choose?
Yeah. The first album, the Victory Shot album, a lot of those songs were already put on hold. They were waiting because the group had gone through the changes. And
Right.
so I left, and actually my second concert, the first weekend I went after Lawrenceburg, was Randy Crawford's last concert. He
Okay.
sang with night, and then I went to go sing with the Bible Tones, and he had a stroke and ended up in the hospital. And
Yeah, I remember that.
and so that first weekend there was a lot going on. So then they hired me pretty quick. You asked earlier. By the next weekend they had offered me the job after that first.
Okay.
And so then we started looking for baritone singers. And Alan came about a week. It wasn't long after, about 2 weeks.
Right.
And so with all the changeover, there was a lot of songs on hold. So those were already determined, except for the last 2 songs to make the album. They gave me, and there's a lot of fun stuff behind the scenes that nobody knows.
Yeah.
And that's what this is for, I guess.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's right.
I went to my bunk and when I took the job, and Jenkins sent me a list of the songs and all the demos that were already
Right.
selected. And there were 10, 12 songs there, and they had notes out beside them, tenor, baritone, lead. Well, of course, I wanted to listen to the lead songs. And so I listened to 2 lead songs, and I come out of my bunk and I told him, I said, man, one of those songs is a hit. I said, man, that's one of the best songs I've ever heard. He said, hold on, because one of those songs actually we believe is getting recorded by somebody else.
Okay.
So long waiting. I said, well, I hope it's not that one. And it was. And so the song that I was supposed to have recorded on that first album that did not make it was a song entitled Come Sunday Morning. No song by the Old Pats.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first song I ever listened to was that one. And but so because that happened and we lost one more, we had an opening. And so the day before we went to the studio, we received 2 songs from a trio of songwriters. And one of those songs was Victory Shout.
Oh wow. Okay.
Came in the day before, and
Wow.
and they ended up being our first releases off the album. And
Oh yeah.
like you said, number 1 song and our top 10 song. So those were kind of neat. The More of the Story album was completely different. So by then I was involved pretty heavy, and
Okay.
me and Chris spent a lot of time in the front of the bus listening to demos.
Yes.
And after everybody go to sleep, we'd make coffee and we'd sit there. And once we selected, then we arranged, then we picked keys, then we tried to. So I'm very proud of the role that I was able to play in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since then, that's been something I've done a lot of going forward.
Well, because like we've talked about on multiple podcasts, it's really about the power of a song. Because personnel is going to change, whether it be the Kingsmen, whatever group, personnel is going to change. But you got to have great material. Got to have great songs.
People don't realize how many songs we listen to.
Yeah, and you go. I would say of probably every 5 bad songs, you hear 1 good song. So you have to weed out the bad stuff, and you have to weed out the songs that are cliche and every line. And here's all the song might be true. Every word of the song might be true, but if it's not cohesive and it don't go together, like the verses may not have anything to do with the chorus. It's all true. All these words are true. This person wrote down on this piece of paper, but if it doesn't go together, it doesn't flow together, doesn't make a good song, or it's the same lyrics you hear in every gospel song. So it's
Oh,
it's
I
a
listen,
process.
and I still, I mean, I listen to a lot now.
Yeah.
I mean, weekly, I listen to probably 15, 20 demos a week right now,
Wow.
and have for the last couple years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of times you know where it's going before it gets there. And
Absolutely.
my wife
Absolutely.
gets in the car and she listens to, well, now because we're on the road so much, and I'll say I need to listen to some demos to make sure. And I'll listen. And I'll get a couple, and I'll sing the next line before it hits. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
I kind of thought that's where it was going.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
people realize, I mean, you can have great songs and they may not fit. They may not fit the Kingsmen. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
you may already have two songs picked for an album that are very similar to that one, and so it doesn't work for that reason. Um,
Right. Exactly.
just there's all kinds of things that go into it. So
Yeah.
coming a good group of songs, but I tell you what's really neat is when you do that and you put an album out, and then you see the album getting received
Yes.
too. When you see the fan, that's why the More to the Story album was really cool. Because it was nominated for album of the year.
Yeah.
It actually was up for a Dove Award for album of the year.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so, it was kinda cool there because I was like, "Well, I wrote a couple of those songs. That's pretty neat."
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty awesome.
so that was, seeing that knowing the part that I did play and some of that behind
Yes.
with everybody else. I mean, everybody plays a part, but just it makes you take more pride in it, and
Oh,
I
absolutely.
that part of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what was
Sure.
one of your favorite? What was some of your favorite things about being on the road on the on the old Kingsman bus? What was your favorite things?
Coming home. No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
No, no, listen, it was, the I traveled there for 4 years, and, thankfully, I don't have to travel near as much now. We do it
Right.
occasionally, but, um, I wouldn't trade the time there for anything. Just the
Yeah.
the memories, the camaraderie, the way, you get used to it, man. It's a routine,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of the hardest things for me, and a lot of people that have done that or do it now, is stopping.
Yeah.
You you
Yeah.
you get so used to it, it becomes your life, it becomes your routine. You spend so much time on that,
Yeah.
especially with you spend so much time on that bus. And
Yeah.
guys, that the thought of coming off the road and kind of reinserting yourself back into the wild or in the world seems impossible because
Yeah.
I mean it's your family, man. Those
Oh
guys
yeah.
spend all your time with.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so when I look back at the memories that I have there, it's really the day-to-day stuff. It's the interaction. I mean, we would get to the bus at midnight to leave out, and we'd sit up for 2 or 3 hours and talk and laugh and joke, and
Yeah.
because, at that point, you'd missed it for a couple of days. You
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
and, just thankful the whole time I was there, we didn't have a group change. So, for 4 years after that first, month of getting Alan on board,
Yeah.
nothing else changed. And
Right.
by the end of it, by year 3 and year 4, I mean, it was just a routine. You just do the same
Yeah.
thing, worry about anything. So that was always fun. But traveling with Ray Dean Reese is, that's an experience, man.
It is. It is. It is.
Yeah, I mean, not just in gospel music, he's one of my favorite people ever. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just a special, special man, and sitting up listening to him tell stories and watch him try to eat crackers and throw them all over the bus and watch watch me at a inch away distance, all that kind of stuff. Watch
Yeah.
that till 2, 3 in the morning where so many times I woke up thinking we were being shot at, but it wasn't. It was it.
Yeah. He was watching some Western or something,
Oh,
on TV.
yeah, constantly. And Ray, I mean, it was hard to stay up later than Ray. It was
Yeah. Oh yeah.
very difficult. Chris and I, we were, like I said, we were in the front lounge, and we would try to wait him out. Uh, and we'd drink coffee. We'd try to, because I mean, there's nothing. Me and Chris were the coffee drinkers, so we'd have a couple, especially late at night, and we wanted to get the TV so we could watch, usually Friends. I don't know why, but that was our
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
We'd watch Friends, but we couldn't because I mean we'd watch him and he'd never go to sleep. So finally about
He's
one
a vampire, man. He's a
he
vampire.
about 2 o'clock I'd go, well, guess I'm gonna go to bed. And I can't tell you how many times I'd go to sleep and wake up and he'd still be up.
Oh man.
Wow.
Oh yeah, just watching TV, watching TV.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, just the days we spent, on that bus and interacting.
Yeah.
Those are some great times. You build some
Great
relationships.
day.
Sure,
Great
yeah.
day.
well, Brian, I'll ask 2 quick questions back to back here. We'll sneak in a Facebook question from
Okay.
your old singing partner, Alan Kendall. He said,
I'm not answering that. No, go
well,
ahead.
we had enough people ask, building up excitement for it. Ask Chris about the great cloud he once set off in the front lounge.
It's probably the thing. Um, so if you've been in a bus like we travel in, there's a buddy seat, and so you got your driver's seat, and then over by the door there's a small seat there, and usually somebody will sit up there and talk to the driver at times, or
Yeah.
if you want to see what's going on. So one day, I don't know, I'd been on the bus for a couple years. I don't know what happened, but I walked up there while we were going down the road, and I went to sit down in the buddy seat, and when I did, I sat down and my hands over to the side hit the fire extinguisher.
Oh my gosh.
It cut out. I mean, the biggest white. I mean, it just went and it sprayed the entire front handle of the bus. And I let off of it real quick, but I mean, it didn't take long because the pressure built up. And just nobody said anything. The amount of shock on everybody's face was just, what in the world happened? First person to say something was Ray. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ray said, he said, well, in 50 years, that's the first time that's ever happened. He said, all people on this bus, you're the first person to ever set off the fire extinguisher.
That is
While going
hilarious.
down the road, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
driving down the road.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it wasn't and it wasn't just a little bit. If you've ever set off a fire extinguisher, they put out a lot of force.
I've never seen one let off accidentally. I've seen people use them to put out a fire, but
Now, fire.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you, Chris, if you could pick 3 other singers,
Okay.
past or present,
Yeah.
to sing a song with, who would you pick? Anybody. 3 singers. Of course, you being a lead singer, tenor and baritone and bass, who would you pick?
Well, if I'm putting together a quartet,
Yeah.
just personally,
Yeah.
uh, it'd start with Tim Riley.
Okay.
I want to sing with Tim Riley. You can't not pick Mark Trammell as a baritone singer.
Yeah.
If I'm and I'd take the lead part, that'd be fine. And probably Danny Funderburg. I love Dan.
Wow. Okay.
I always love. I'd love to hear that quartet just one day.
That would have been a dynamic group. Let me just tell you. That
I
was
love,
a dynamic quartet. How about piano player? Who would you pick on piano?
um, I mean, you can't get away from Anthony, can you? I mean, Anthony,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I've been very blessed to travel with some great piano players. When I was with the Kingsmen, Andrew Ishii came back and played with
Yeah.
us. I've always loved. And Andrew Ishii was playing with the Bible Tones when I was there.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Great piano player, and then Andy Stringfield is fantastic.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've never had to worry about a piano player, so
Right.
can't go wrong with the guys I've traveled. But yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have sang with Anthony.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool, man. That'd have been cool. Sure.
Any particular singers that you can think of that inspired you over the years, Chris?
Ivan Parker for sure.
Yeah.
The way Ivan sang, you got different types of singers, and I've had to learn kind of what my strength is and weakness.
Yeah.
And, I've always had a decent range. The older I get, the harder it is. But the way Ivan would stand there flat-footed and sing with the finesse and the power,
Oh
without
yeah.
it look like he was trying too hard.
Yeah.
There was something about that to me that just I really liked that and admired that, and I wanted to know,
Okay.
as the lead singer, I wanted to know, and not really to get the fans to respond, just to know that I was in control of what I was trying to do.
Right. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I never felt like there was anybody in my genre, my age group that I was
Yeah.
growing up, I guess, that had it under control like he did.
Right.
And so I tried to watch that a lot and try to listen. Now, as far as the hard singing and the power singing, yeah, I mean, I love to hear the Kingsmen, to hear Hamble sing, and love to hear Arthur Rice sing. Arthur was just,
Yeah.
but something about Ivan's finesse and his way of shaping notes. The older I've gotten, the more I've found people like Kenny Henson and
Okay.
much of a freak of nature those guys were.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, but when I was growing up, I didn't listen to Henson's a whole lot. I was a quartet guy, and
Right. Right.
I was a Cathedral's Gold City Kingsman guy,
Yeah.
and pretty much in that order. And
Yeah.
so, my experience with the Kingsmen didn't really come about until I didn't become a fan of the Kingsmen until um, around the Singing in the Sun album
Okay.
when I was a kid, and I really liked the sound on that. I liked the singing on it, and then honestly, when it hit the Shelter, the I Will,
Okay.
those albums, those were my favorites. That was my favorite lineup. That was my favorite.
Okay.
And yeah, yeah, I loved that sound, the preciseness and the clarity and the way you guys, and Brian, you were a part of
Yeah. Yeah.
but the way you and Jerry swap back and forth and sang, and just how high you say that was my favorite.
Yeah.
A
Wow. Okay.
lot of people go back a lot further than that with their favorite Kingsman albums, but my favorite was always Shelter and I Will.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Those were good days for me, and
Yeah,
uh, and I've had a lot of people say that, and my favorite lineup was Ernie and Squire and Hamill and Ray, and
yeah,
that's what inspired me, and so I appreciate that, brother. So,
yep.
well, let me ask you: was there ever a special moment that you can remember during your Kingsman tenure, that maybe where God showed up at a particular service and you just remember that? You have a time you can remember anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, there were several of those, and those stand out. When you do this as much
Yeah.
as we did, and as much as the people that are out there traveling like that still do, 200 times a year, when God shows up, and when
Yeah.
something happens that's not, I don't want to say programmed, but you can't force it, man. You can't force
Right.
those type of services that you walk out of and you feel as blessed as the people
Absolutely.
showed up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think specifically. There were Music's always been a comfort to me. Um, I've always been the type of person that could listen to a song, especially when things got hard, when things got tough,
Yeah.
and get something out of it. And that's probably why I've wanted to spend my life and use and do my career as music, because I believe music can speak to you and touch you when sometimes nothing else
Yeah.
can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For me personally, um, we sang at the Memphis Quartet show. May have been my last year there. It was either my last year or the year before that. And I'd lost my grandfather um, just a few weeks before that had
Yeah.
happened. Matter of fact, actually, the week before he passed. And I didn't call the songs of the Kingsmen. The later years I was there, I've had a lot of influence in it.
Right.
But Chris called the songs, and I didn't do any MC work. I didn't talk. I didn't do much of anything. I did a little bit, but that was his role.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But that night, I wanted to do something different, and I asked, can you let me have a moment? And he said, sure. And so um, I think I said something about my grandfather passing, maybe, and started singing um, "How Beautiful Heaven Must Be."
Okay.
And we had Andrew Ishii on piano, and somebody else was playing. I think Scoop was playing bass. We had a and drummer. And when we hit the last note of it, "How Beautiful Heaven Must Be," Andrew went straight into "Wish You Were Here," and I didn't know he
Okay.
was.
Oh,
And we started singing that song, and I could feel it soothing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the first time, I guess I understood then, like, why that song had meant so much to so many people.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd sang it. I'd sang it more times than I can count.
Yeah.
But that night, it meant something different to me.
Yeah.
And watching the faces out there of the people that felt what I felt,
Yeah.
um, it reminded me of how sweet that moment's going to be. You know, it reminded me that God has all this planned. He puts these songs out there for us and for everybody,
Yeah.
but He uses them whether we
Yeah.
make or not.
Oh yeah. He can use them.
So that
Yeah.
moment, I felt something that night, just a connection
Yeah.
uh, to that song and to the people out there.
Yeah.
And that's I didn't expect it. That's things like that, and that happens so many times. But you think you're just at a concert, you're just getting out there. It's
Yeah.
just Memphis. You're going to give it 30 minutes. You're gonna, we're going to sing,
Right.
and but watching God show up and use something is special. Always.
Yeah. And like you said, there are nights, and you be in the Kingsman as long as you were, you know this to be true. There's nights you get up and sing, and the people want concert. They want full
Yeah.
blown concert.
Yeah.
They want a performance, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when God really shows up and He blesses you,
Mhm.
that's when it's special. That's
Yeah.
when it's special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the times that mean the most to me. And even now, I tour some now and we still have those times. Those are the ones that I look forward to. Those are the times you walk back to the bus and you go, wow, that was good. I need,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
That's
it, it's not, to me, it's not, I don't walk back to the bus and say, man, tonight that was great. I sang every note perfect tonight.
Yeah.
You're proud and you try to do that every time you go out there, but the times that stand out are not those times. It's
Right.
that you felt something.
Right.
right.
Amen.
That's
That's good.
true.
That's good.
Yep. That's right. Chris, I'll ask you this.
Yep.
Was there a specific time in your memory when you was performing that you know that this is what you wanted to do for a career that stood out to you?
It was very early on. I
Yeah.
always worked. I would work and sing part time. I did that for years. So I didn't start singing full time, like you said, until 2018.
Yeah.
So by that time, I was 33, I guess, something like that. Um, and when I decided to go with the Kingsmen, I had a conversation with my dad and with my family, and I'd kind of reached a point that I knew God had blessed me and given me a love for music, given me the ability to ability to sing it, the ability to hear the parts. I knew He had done that, and I've always used it for Him. I've never used it for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But I honestly reached a point before I even tried out that I said, I feel like if I don't ever try to do this as a career and really commit to it, that
Yeah.
um, that I would always love that I got to sing. But if I didn't really step out there and put everything I had into it, that I would regret it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so when I stepped out there to do it, I was fully committed at that point. Like this is what I'm going to do, and
Yeah.
and we're going to give it everything we got. And if people like it, we'll keep doing it. If not, we'll
Yeah.
go back to selling paint. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
No, I was
That's
pretty committed from the first time I stepped out there that
Yeah.
this is what I
You
want.
you knew that was what God wanted you to do.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you. You mentioned Ray Dean Reese about a few minutes ago, and how he's the iconic, legendary bass singer, longtime bass singer of the Kingsmen. And, he's slowed down considerably, and most people know that. But you honestly are one of the last guys to actually travel with him on
yeah.
a full time, where he's out there every single night.
Oh.
So, do you have a funny Ray Reese story? Because most of the guys will ask, "Okay, you got a funny road story," and 90% are about Ray. He's
Yeah.
somewhere involved somehow. So,
Kind of funny. you mentioned when we mentioned doing this, one of you told me, said, "Yeah, I mean, we'll just ask you about a couple funny stories," and all I could think about was stuff with Ray. And
Yeah.
then you find yourself trying to remember, like, there's so much of it, like, what
Yeah.
stands out? Like, what is the funny, stories?
Right.
Um, that there's so many. He's just a hilarious man. Even when he's not trying to be, but when he is,
Right.
there was one day in particular, the bus parked at a hotel, and that's how we didn't have the Kingsman bus does not have a shower on it.
Right.
Most buses do. There's just,
Yeah.
which means every day, normally we'd go to a hotel. Everybody would take turns going in. We'd get one room, take a shower, and then usually the driver would sleep in the room. We'd go to the bed,
Right.
I can get him. That was the day. So we'd wake up every day in a new hotel parking lot.
Yeah.
That was our routine. Shower, find something to eat. Well, one day we all took showers, and you kind of know who's in there, who's taking a shower now, and who's next.
Yeah.
Kind of get it because you get it done so you can go eat. Well, we started talking about it, and somebody said, "Well, did Ray go in before you?" No, I don't think so. So what? I mean, did he go in after you? Like I didn't see him. I don't know. Well, he comes back to the bus and he showered, and then talking about breakfast, and we say something about, and he was so mad because they wanted to charge him for breakfast, and if you know Ray, he doesn't like paying for things.
No, he don't want to pay for anything.
Nope. So, so long story short, by the time we got it figured out what he had done, he had walked in the wrong hotel.
Oh no.
Oh.
We were parked at a place. I think it was a Holiday Inn and like some kind of other. Well, he picked the nicest hotel and walked in there. Not only did he walk, he went in and went up to the room number. There was a maid in there cleaning, and he said, "Excuse me, I need to take a shower." And she let her
Oh man.
shower. He comes back down and sits down, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a free breakfast. So they ate his breakfast, didn't know it. They handed him the bill, and it was like $20, and he wouldn't pay it.
Oh no.
He kept telling him, "I'm staying here." And so he finally got his breakfast for free. So he got
Oh my gosh.
a
Free shower, free
shower,
breakfast.
walked back on the bus, and still had no clue that was not our hotel.
That is hilarious. That's
Yeah,
that could be a top 10. That's a top 5 Ray Reese
it
story.
was great. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can totally see him doing that.
Oh goodness. It, Ray was great. Ray had his listen, after all the years he did this, he had his routine.
Yeah.
He did his thing. And I, I'll just say this. If I ever woke up I usually get up about 9:30.
Yeah.
If I woke up and I saw Ray Dean Reese was already awake, it was going to be a bad day because that meant he was not in his routine. That meant
That's true.
because he would sleep. Like I said, he'd stay up late, but he would sleep late too.
Yeah.
So it never fed. If I woke up and saw him, and Chris Jenkins was the same way, I'd open my curtain, I'd look, I'd see him, I'd close the curtain and try to go back to sleep. Or I'd message Chris and say, it's gonna be something's wrong. Because he had done so many times and done the same thing over and over that when something was off like that,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter.
That's
We
true.
had 6 concert, we knew exactly what we're doing, but the concert was at 4. Ray was a basket case. He
Yeah.
he couldn't translate it at 6 o'clock. We got there at 4 o'clock. We might as well be there at 7:30 in the morning. No clue how to make that work.
Wow.
He was hilarious when it came to stuff like that. He's
That's great.
fun.
That is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a great story right there. Oh goodness. Chris, we know you're singing lead now with the Kingdom Heirs, the legendary Kingdom Heirs. That means probably singing more than the average full-time Southern gospel group.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us about that, how you had to get accustomed to that, and what advice would you give to young singers, just as well too, if you want to add on into that as well, please, sir?
Well, we do sing. We sing a lot. We do 5 days a week, 4 shows a day. One day, occasionally we'll get 3 shows, but for the most part, it's 5 days a week, 4 shows a day. 30 shows. We do we 8 songs a day, 4 band songs and 28 songs a day. A lot. On a normal program with the Kingsmen, we probably would do 13, 14 songs, something like. So 28 songs is a lot. Um, have about an hour break in between shows, but the break doesn't really do anything. But you get used to it, man. And when Arthur Rice, whenever I took the job, Arthur, of course, being a former Kingsman guy, I knew him real well, and I talked to him, and he told me, and he's told some other members this, that your voice will let you know when it's time to sing and when it's not.
Yeah.
And I kind of relate it to kind of like going to the gym. When you go to the gym and you work out for 4 or 5 days, you have to take some rest days. Your body needs you to take rest days.
Yeah.
And that's how this is. On our days off, like I physically can't make the notes come out.
Yeah.
Struggle when I'm there. So you get used to it like you would anything else.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I've learned there, and I've talked to some other people in gospel music now, is just knowing how to protect your voice.
Yeah.
How not to push too hard when you don't have to. Um,
Yeah.
and coming from the Kingsmen, that's totally different. Kingsmen
Oh, yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
They still sing hard. Every lineup they've had is sing hard.
Yeah.
It's part of, the
Part of it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you just cloud of dust. You guys that's what, and you can do that, but you can't sustain it.
Right.
And so I've learned how to really control it a little bit more, dial it back, and
Yeah.
have it when I need it. But I've tried to tell other singers, because I have people sometimes that come and ask me things like, because they know we sing a lot. So
Yeah.
other lead singers and other singers that are traveling out there will come and say, "Hey, do it. How do you sing that much?"
Yeah.
And that's the best thing I can tell them, is just, hey, pick your spots. Don't
Yeah.
don't don't try to sing everything so hard. Like,
Yeah.
trust your mic, and
Yes.
take care of it. That way you have it when you want it. And I mean, sometimes you still don't, but
That's great advice, though. That's great
it,
advice. Yeah.
uh,
Knowing, like you said, knowing how to protect your voice,
yeah,
and knowing, hey, do we have, especially when you guys got a band, do we have to do it in that key? Let's drop it a half step.
yeah.
99% of the people out there aren't going to know you dropped it.
They don't. When I first come in with the Kingsmen, I was still, and I haven't. It's this has been for me the last 7, 8 years, I guess.
Yeah.
But a lot's changed my mentality. When I first,
Yeah.
it was, no, you can't lower anything. You have to sing it as high as it was. And you have to sing it hard. You have to, and now it's like, no, no, you don't.
Yeah. You don't. You don't.
We just pre-recorded. We just did the 40th anniversary album, and we lowered 2 of the songs on it, and then a few of the other songs I went to different parts and did, because there's doing
Yeah.
something you can do that many times a year is far more important than doing something you can do one time on a recording.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well,
Yes.
Glenn, I know we're get close on time, but Glenn Payne gave me a piece of great advice years ago. He said, if you can't sing a note on a Sunday morning when you first get up, don't ever sing it.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I've tried to stay with that. Now there's times I get up there and thinking, oh, I'm feeling pretty good tonight. Nope. Your voice is like, no, not gonna let you do that. But
Yeah,
I've tried to stick with that. If I can't sing it on a Sunday morning, don't ever sing it.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
or even said, if you can't sing a note when you're really sick, don't
Mhm.
ever sing it.
Well, that's been one of the biggest things that's helped me, and I've learned with the Kingdom Age. I've learned different, and as a singer, you'll understand this. Different. You don't have to sing the same way. So I
Right.
learned to move stuff around where I can sing through just about anything. There's only been about 2 days since I've been there in the last 2.5 years that I haven't been able to sing.
Yeah.
Most of the time I can move it around and do something a little different, but
Right.
it's like anything else, man. It's I've loved singing. I treat singing like I treat playing golf. It's just
Yeah.
try to get better each time, compete against yourself.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I enjoy singing when nobody's listening. I've enjoyed singing all of my life regardless.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
I just like doing it. It's
Yeah. It's what you were born to do that.
I
You were
love
born to do that.
Yeah.
so.
That's right. That's right. Well, Chris, we appreciate you joining us on this great episode of Behind the Crown podcast. Learned some stuff that I didn't know, especially about your early days with the Kingsmen. Got to sing with Randy Crawford on stage. That's pretty cool. I did not know that, but I mean, it's been another great episode. Funny stories and just great stuff, man. The inside stuff, just some
Yeah.
good stuff. We appreciate you.
Well, we love to have you come back again sometime. And
Yeah.
what I think in the future, we're looking at maybe doing a special episode on iconic Kingsman songs.
Yeah.
So you talked about "Wish You Were Here" a little bit, and that's going to be one of our iconic songs. We dedicated an entire podcast to maybe "Old Ship of Zion," "Wish
Yeah.
You Were Here," "Excuses." Some of the iconic. "Look for Me at Jesus' Feet." We're going to ask each guy that sang that song to maybe give some thoughts on it. And so we'll have you come back again sometime. And
Yeah, keep up the great work, and I'll say I enjoyed your time with the Kingsmen. Great singing with Alan and Chris and Ray, and we just love you and appreciate you, man.
Man, love you guys too. I appreciate it for having me.
Thank y'all so much. Join us with us next week as we meet back at the table again, talk some more Kingsman memories with former members and current members.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Behind the Crown podcast with your hosts, Brian Hudson and Josh Griffin. If you would, please like, rate, and share this episode. Join us again for another episode of the Behind the Crown podcast.